So my professor asked me something in class the other day and it got me thinking, so I thought we could talk about it for a bit. He asked for a show of hands of people who think that it's okay to waste a day. And of course, I promptly raised my hand. I'm sitting in the front of the class, so I can't really see who's behind me. There's maybe about 60 of us in the class, but I get the feeling that a lot of people raise their hands. It's okay to waste a day. He then asks, who thinks it's okay to waste maybe a day or two? And I promptly raised my hand, saying I'm perfectly okay with wasting a day. And of course, this whole time he's like, don't worry, I'm not going to hold it against you. I just want to honestly know, who is perfectly okay with wasting a day? And he asks a third time, who's okay with wasting an entire weekend, just sitting around and doing nothing? And I raised my hand. I quickly got the sense that I was the only one that had done so. He quickly made light of it and said that I must have upperclassmen or senioritis setting in, even though I'm not technically a senior yet. But the whole class laughed. But he then went on and made an argument about how that's not a good thing and that we shouldn't be okay with wasting even a single day. I perfectly understood what he meant and I grasped the concept, and he made very good, valid points that in the industry I'm planning on going into, you have to have work to show for what you've done. You've got to be able to go into an interview or turn in an application that says, this is what I've done, this is why I'm best at what I do, and this is why you should hire me. And he said to do that, that you cannot waste a single day. You should always have something to do. Even on your days off, go to a bar, go to a show, do something. But he made the argument that you should never waste a day. And this to me presents problems. I mean, I'm one of the worst. I won't lie. I tend to procrastinate a lot more than I should. And I'm not saying that it's impossible to maybe waste too much time, because I'm definitely guilty of doing so. But I'm also one of the busiest people you'll ever meet. On a day-to-day basis, I have a schedule that's just ridiculous, beyond just class time. I'm also doing audio for the porch sessions. I'm also doing audio for a TV show called Southern Tracks. I'm also doing a group project to run an Indiegogo campaign for WUSM in the Spring Slumgullion. I'm also with a group to make a video in one of my classes that's like annoying. And then I also have my YouTube responsibilities, which I don't want to lose. I love it. But then, you know, to put everything together, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. On top of that, I'm the officer of audio production at South City Records. And I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong. What I am saying is that I'm incredibly busy, and I don't think it's a problem to waste a day or two. Because for me, as an introvert, as someone who gets his energy level from being alone, sometimes when I run through a full week from weekend to weekend and I have no time to myself, constantly busy in the studio, in anywhere, just constantly busy, writing homework, taking tests, studying for tests, writing papers, and dealing with all the different things I've got to deal with, and add on top of that there are a bunch of people who rely on me, who need me, I'm extremely busy and I get really worn out. And because of this, I think it is not a bad thing to waste a day or two. I think it is a necessity to waste a day or two. And what I mean by this is not necessarily sitting on your couch being like, oh, I'm so bored all day. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking a day or two to just do what you want to do. And if that just so happens to mean sitting down and marathoning the second season of House of Cards, then go for it, no problem. We live in a culture that tends to guilt trip us on any second wasted. They tell us that if you want things to happen, if you want to move mountains per se and make things happen for your career, you can't waste a single second. And I argue that, okay, maybe there's some truth to that, but not to such the extreme. I think that you can definitely go too far with it. You've got to take time for yourself. As Buddha would say, everything in moderation. That's just so absolutely true. You can be a workaholic, but you still need to take time to yourself. I would classify myself as too busy. I have said yes to many things. I have overextended myself. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop giving my best foot forward. I'm going to do everything I can to do my responsibilities at the best of my ability. But if I so happen to find a day or two that I can just sit and enjoy some time to myself, you better be sure I'm going to sit down and enjoy it. And I'm going to soak it in, because I know that my next week is going to be just as hectic, if not even more so. The point I'm trying to make is when someone guilt trips you for wasting a day just doing nothing, don't let that bother you, because it's probably the case that you deserved it if you felt like you needed to do that. I mean, personally, when I spend too long doing nothing and I know that I'm wasting too much time, I do start getting antsy, and I get to the point where I feel like even I need to go out and socialize. But there's nothing wrong with needing a little time alone and needing to waste a day. Don't waste too much time, because it is necessary that you do stuff. You don't want to sit around and be a bum. So be busy and be active and do what you want to do to the best of your ability. But if you let that run you to the ground, you're only hurting yourself. So yeah, it's bad to waste a lot of time, but it's not a bad thing to spend a little time for yourself. The next time someone tries to guilt trip you for spending a day doing nothing, don't let that bother you if you've been busy. But you also shouldn't spend 3, 4, 5 days doing nothing. You've got to do something with your life. Find the balance. Be happy. Go through life like all of humanity does and get something done. You know, it's no good to get done with everything and be like, wow, what have I done with my life? That's terrible. Do something with yourself. Maybe you just need to go find out what you want to do. That doesn't matter. Just do something meaningful, but don't let it run you into the ground. I'm doing what I love to do. I'm doing what I want to do. But if I let it run me into the ground, that defeats the purpose. So yeah, it's good to take a day to yourself from time to time. Maybe even 2 days. It's all in moderation. But that's all I got for you. See you next time.